And now we welcome in someone you may recognize. He is the author of The Storm is Upon Us: How QAnon Became a Movement, Cult, and Conspiracy Theory of Everything. Mike Rothschild, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Mike, congrats. You're 1 week out from your book launch, and I know people are excited to get their hands on it. Can you tell them what it's about?
Sure. This book is a history of the QAnon conspiracy theory, not just the earliest drops made on 4chan, but the conspiracy theories and scams and tropes that went into making it. One of the things I wanted to do was really strip away the component parts of QAnon and demystify it and make it look less new and less like something that nobody had ever seen before, and really get down to what makes it tick and why people believe it, what people get out of it, and how to get people out of it.
Wow, and I know a lot of people have sunken into it. They actually legitimately believe that certain celebrities are pedophiles and that there's this ring going on. What is it that makes people so willing to just fall into this unproven kind of these conspiracy theories?
Sure, QAnon is very good at providing easy answers to complicated questions and to provide order in what looks like a very chaotic and random world. What really sets QAnon apart from a lot of other conspiracy theories is that it has a participatory element. It brings you into the equation. You know, most conspiracy theories are just about what a group of wealthy string pullers are doing to you, and there's nothing you can do. You can't fight back. It's, you know, you just have it happen to you. With QAnon, you are on the front lines. You are a digital soldier, to use the phrase that Michael Flynn used in 2016. So you can make memes, you can make videos, you can decode Q drops, you can wake your friends up to what's really going on. And in that respect, it provides a way to fight back. It's a participatory community, and that's really what makes it tick.
Gosh, so essentially because people can get involved, they're more likely to get involved and to be entranced by this. That's a very scary thing. And so when it comes to kind of putting an end to these conspiracy theories, is there any suggestions for how to stop it?
Well, unfortunately, conspiracy theory beliefs are really baked into the way that we see the world. You know, from an evolutionary standpoint, if we see a tree rustling, our brains tell us that it has to be danger and we run away. And we all still have that today. Most people believe in something that is weird or unevidenced or that they themselves advocate for and nobody else agrees with. That's just the way we are. And in most cases, it's really not harmful. But obviously in the case of QAnon, it is extremely harmful, extremely violent and destructive. So I think that the best that we can do, and I talk about this quite a bit in the book, is maybe not so much deal with QAnon, but look for the next iteration. What's going to be the next conspiracy theory or mass movement that takes some of the parts of QAnon and repurposes it for something brand new?
Oh, yikes. That's scary to think about, that there's going to be a next wave, because I think we generally don't see them coming as much as they do. But I guess, do you think that this is something that maybe the federal government needs to invest resources in thwarting these kind of conspiracy theories before they start?
Well, I definitely think the government needs to invest resources in dealing with these kinds of movements. You know, we saw the FBI put out a memo in summer of 2019 talking about how violent QAnon was and the potential for mayhem from certain believers. But by then, there'd already been a slew of crimes. There'd been multiple murders, there'd been domestic terrorism incidents. So I think what we really need to do is not so much look for the government, because, you know, there's this misconception that things that happen online are not important. That, you know, there's just crazy kooky internet stuff. We don't need to worry about that. That's not real. QAnon is very real, and the damage it's done is very real. So I think it's really up to us to see it happening in the lives of the people that we care about. You know, if you have someone who's really prone to conspiracy theories, you really need to check in on that person and see kind of what they're looking at, where they're getting their news from, how they're handling everything. That's really the best way to forestall these things. I don't think we can really rely on anybody else to do it but us.
Yes, and it seems to be something that we definitely need to be better equipped on understanding this. And so if there is the potential to maybe get to people early, would you suggest that there's some kind of educational reform?
Oh, sure. I think critical thinking has to be taught in our schools from the very beginning. And especially with the internet, we have to teach really young kids how to navigate information spaces, how to tell what's real from what's fake, what's harmful from what's true. I think we all have to do that as parents, as community members. It really has to be a part of our daily life, both for ourselves, our own digital hygiene, and for people who are younger than us. And I also think people who are older than us. This conspiracy movement has really caught on with baby boomers. There's a huge older element that really is into QAnon and was really into it from the very beginning. And I talk about in the book how a couple of the early Q evangelists went on InfoWars in December 2017, really just after this thing started, and made an appeal for retired Americans with military experience to join them in their fight. And they got a huge response to that. It was very terrifying.
Yikes, do these people just need something to do? While they're kind of rolling in all of their money, and I'd almost say our money. So why can't they just sit there as opposed to, dragging down society? But I will stop there. So when it comes to the storm is upon us, if there's a little nugget that you wouldn't mind sharing that you find to be interesting that readers would enjoy, I'd love to hear it.
Sure. So one of the things I really wanted to do was to understand the mentality behind the crimes that have been committed by QAnon believers. We've heard about the Gambino family mob boss who was shot dead, the guy in Seattle who ran his brother through with a sword because he thought he was a lizard person. One of the things I wanted to do was really dig in and understand that. And something that I found in researching and sort of putting all of this together is that the people who committed these crimes weren't motivated by hate. They weren't motivated by white supremacy or anti-Semitism so much as they were in the mistaken belief that they were in danger, the country was in danger, or children were in danger. Now, it's important to point out that a couple of them have been found incompetent to stand trial, but a lot of the other ones haven't been. And we have to understand that QAnon believers see themselves as soldiers in a war on behalf of patriotism and what's good and right. Now, obviously, they're wrong and they're violent and dangerous, but these people are motivated by much more than just the sort of random hate online. They really think they're striking a blow against the forces that are keeping America down. And that's much more difficult to deal with, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, because like you say, if it's individuals who seem to be, pretty okay in the normal boat, and then all of a sudden they go do something this extreme and they truly adopt these beliefs, it seems to be rather scary. Now, when it comes to the potential next threat that should come or that could come, do you think that there's a recipe for being able to detect it?
I think what we need to do is really get into these social media spaces where they hang out. And I don't advocate people just going there by themselves, but there's a great network of disinformation researchers and journalists who monitor some of these places like Telegram and Gab and video sites like BitChute. And if you start to see people worrying about things, I think that's a time where you can concern yourself with it. Don't go searching yourself. These places are awful, and I don't recommend anybody go there. But the one thing that they're really coalescing around and that I really urge people to keep an eye on is the stolen election narrative. This all started way before the election. You had certainly Trump's inner circle, but also QAnon, who was posting dozens and dozens of drops every day seemingly about how there was no way Joe Biden could win the election. And if Joe Biden won, it means the election was stolen. Well, Joe Biden won, and they now think the election was stolen. And they are putting their hopes into this increasingly bizarre series of events that needs to happen. It started with the obviously January 6th, then this March 4th thing, and now the recount in Maricopa County, which they really see as the key to toppling all of the dominoes that will invalidate all of these states and just magically put Donald Trump back in office. Obviously, we know that is not going to happen. That is not in the realm of reality as it is currently constructed. But these people don't live in that reality. And the fear I have is that at some point it is going to be obvious that Trump is not going to come back into office. And that's when the danger really starts of people taking matters into their own hands and having a repeat of January 6th or something even worse.
That's scary, the thought that there could be something worse. I just don't understand why these people can't focus on like reasonably sound conspiracy theories like Jeffrey Epstein. Not necessarily just suddenly dying kind of thought. It's like, at least go for the legit, help me out here. But at least we're gonna have something like The Storm is Upon Us to provide somewhat of a guide so people can dig a little deeper into this mindset. And I'm extremely interested in it. And so if people are looking for more insight in terms of your book and also maybe where you're going in terms of having a book tour, where can they find information?
Sure. I tweet pretty relentlessly. I'm on Twitter at Rothschild MD. It's just my initials. I'm not a doctor or anything like that. You can pick up the book anywhere books are sold, your local independent bookstore, bookshop. You can order from the publisher, obviously Amazon if you want to do that. And watch out for some new projects I'm working on, and really dig into that community of disinformation researchers, because there's people doing really good work out there, and you can really educate yourself in a positive and truthful way to what's going on.
Yes, and it's so incredibly important not to discount things simply because they're happening on the internet and thinking that, oh, it's just someone sitting in their basement. Yep. That is not necessarily the case anymore. Thank you so much for joining us. Please remember, check out the book, The Storm is Upon Us, How QAnon Became a Movement, Cult, and Conspiracy Theory of Everything. Mike Rothschild, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.